Welcome to the Saul's Newsstand News Review for June 28, 2019. An op-ed from 60 Plus founder and chairman Jim Martin reads, "Actions matter, numbers don't." No politician ever addressed the issue of a president's age better than Ronald Reagan. When asked during the second debate against Walter Mondale in October of 1984 about his ability to endure the rigors of the presidency given his age, the 73-year-old president quipped, "I will not make age an issue of this campaign. I am not going to exploit for political purposes my opponent's youth and inexperience." Reagan brought down the House with his response, but he also cast sunlight on a legitimate question. Is there an upper limit to the age of an American president? The Constitution sets a minimum age to be president, but is silent on how old one may be to serve in that office. Current polling data are unlikely to reflect the general election matchup next year, but there's a fair chance that the presidential election will pit one septuagenarian against another. It's entirely possible that whomever wins in 2020 will be the oldest person ever elected to serve in the White House. Donald Trump will be 74 years old in November of 2020. Among the president's prospective opponents, who are polling in double digits, Joe Biden will be 77, and Bernie Sanders will be 79. While it might be fun to watch a couple of old guys duke it out in a general election, people can be forgiven for wondering if either nominee has the stamina for the presidency. It's a difficult job, I wouldn't want it, and it's physically demanding. We would encourage you to read the full op-ed by clicking on the link in the description below. An article from The Hill reports, lawmakers offer bill to boost Alzheimer's funding. House lawmakers on Monday unveiled bipartisan legislation to increase funding to help fight Alzheimer's disease. The bill would create an Alzheimer's Research and Caregiving Trust Fund, otherwise known as the ARC Trust Fund, to finance Alzheimer's research and support caregivers. Under the bill, taxpayers can contribute to the ARC Trust Fund through their federal income tax returns. 50% of the funds would be allocated to the National Institutes of Health, with the other half going to the Administration for Community Living, an agency in the Department of Health and Human Services, which funds efforts to provide community living for older people and those with disabilities. Supporters noted that the ARC Trust Fund would not pull from any current funding from the NIH or other agencies, but bring more money to the fight against Alzheimer's. Currently, Alzheimer's is the sixth leading cause of death in the U.S., according to the Alzheimer's Foundation of America. As many as 5 million Americans live with Alzheimer's disease, a number the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention projects could triple by 2060. And finally, another Hill article reports, Trump issues executive order to bring transparency to healthcare prices. President Trump, in an executive order issued Monday, directed the Department of Health and Human Services and other agencies to put out rules requiring hospitals to disclose prices that reflect what patients and insurers actually pay for services. The Trump administration has been working on regulations that will require healthcare providers and insurers to tell patients how much a service will cost before they get it. The rules aim to bring more transparency to a healthcare system where patients usually don't find out how much a procedure costs until they get the bill in the mail. This will go down as one of the most significant steps in the long history of American healthcare reform, said Alex Azar, the Secretary for the Department of Health and Human Services. The rules will also require healthcare providers and insurers to tell patients about out-of-pocket costs they'll face before they receive healthcare services. Azar said the rules would drive down prices because it would empower patients to shop around for the best costs. The administration says this is difficult to do in the current healthcare system because hospitals and providers often do not provide quotes for services. And that concludes your Saul's Newsstand News Review for June 28, 2019. For more political news faster, visit saulsnews.com.